The vast expanse of space was filled with the hum of alien warships as they tore through the black void, heading straight for Earth. In their lead, General Kal-Zor stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the planet grow larger on his screens. He was an experienced commander, a ruthless leader who had conquered countless worlds across the galaxy. To him, Earth was just another step in his long campaign of domination. Humans were weak, primitive, and had no real defense against his superior forces. The invasion fleet was massive, brimming with AI-controlled war machines, cloaked ships, and devastating energy weapons. General Kal-Zor was confident. He had read the reports from his scouts, he had analyzed every possible data point, and he had made one conclusion. Earth was nothing more than a blip on the map, a speck of dust that would fall easily to his army. He believed there was no chance for the humans to survive. They were destined for destruction. Their cities would burn, their people would kneel, and their planet would be claimed for the Empire. His AI-controlled fleet prepared to strike. Initiate planetary bombardment, Kal-Zor commanded in a cold, commanding tone. The alien warships above Earth unleashed their devastating energy weapons, targeting major cities and military bases. It was a perfect strike, designed to cripple Earth's defenses in a single, overwhelming blow. The massive ships in orbit opened fire, and within seconds, Earth's surface was ablaze with destruction. The alien fleet rained down blasts of plasma and laser fire, vaporizing entire cities. But what Kal-Zor didn't expect, what no one on his fleet could have predicted, was that humans weren't going down without a fight. As the alien weapons pummeled Earth, the damage was minimal. The reports coming from the battlefield were baffling. The weapons, they're barely damaging the human defenses. A voice crackled through the fleet's communication system. Kal-Zor's eyes narrowed. He had to be mistaken. Earth's technology was supposed to be outdated, nothing compared to his advanced AI systems and war machines. Yet there was something strange happening. The energy blasts from his ships, designed to disintegrate cities, were merely scorching the atmosphere. Earth's defenses were holding strong. His fleet had the power to obliterate any planet in the galaxy, but here, for the first time, they were being faced with resistance unlike anything they had encountered before. On the ground, Earth's military had anticipated such an invasion. Over the years, human scientists and engineers had secretly worked on advanced cloaking technologies, energy shields, and underground defense networks. They had prepared for the worst. As the alien ships hovered above, unnoticed by the invaders, human soldiers quietly activated their hidden systems. The cloaking technology kicked in, rendering the major cities invisible to the alien sensors. Bonner, a young and fearless soldier, stood at the helm of one of Earth's underground command centers. He had spent years preparing for this day, but nothing could have prepared him for the scale of the alien assault. As he looked out over the data streams coming in from his soldiers on the front lines, he felt a deep sense of unease. The fight was far from over, and though Earth had managed to hold the line for now, it was clear that this was just the beginning. Bonner had always believed in his mission, always thought that humanity would rise to the challenge. But now, facing a technologically superior enemy, even his confidence was shaken. "How are we still alive?" he muttered under his breath, his eyes locked on the screen displaying alien ships overhead. "How can we possibly win?" Despite the initial successes, it was clear that this battle would not be easily won. As Bonner and his team moved deeper into the military's underground bunkers, the intensity of the conflict only increased. The alien fleet was regrouping. Their next move would be decisive, but Bonner was not ready to give up. Not yet. The spirit of humanity had always been to fight against all odds, to stand firm when the world seemed to crumble around them. He had trained for years to fight, to protect his people, and now he would have to put everything on the line. "We can't let them take Earth," he said, gripping his weapon tighter. "We have to fight back, no matter what." In a hidden command center beneath a city that was still standing, the human leaders were already planning their next moves. They were fully aware that they had no chance of winning in a direct confrontation against the alien forces, so they decided to rely on the only advantage they had left: their will to survive. It wasn't their technology, nor their numbers, but their refusal to give up that might just give them the edge. The world was on the brink of total destruction, but humanity had not surrendered. This was a war of survival. As the alien forces closed in on Earth, ready to wipe out the human race once and for all, a new question echoed through the minds of Earth's soldiers. Could the human spirit prove stronger than the alien invasion? Could they actually stand against the unstoppable forces of technology and defeat an enemy that seemed invincible? Cal Zor, watching from his flagship, still believed in the inevitability of his victory. "They will fall," he said coldly, certain that the humans had no chance. But as the battle raged on, the unexpected resistance made him question his assumptions. Humans had something that the most advanced technology could never understand: an unyielding will to survive. As the sun set on Earth's burning cities, the world held its breath. The first wave of the alien attack had failed, but the next wave would be far more dangerous. Cal Zor was preparing for the final strike, convinced that humanity would never be able to withstand the full might of his fleet. But the humans, no matter how outgunned they were, refused to die. They refused to give up, and that would make all the difference. The story left the audience with one burning question: would humanity's fierce willpower be enough to overcome the technologically superior alien forces, or would the invaders prove too strong? The stakes were high, and the fight had only just begun. The battle raged on above Earth's atmosphere as alien warships continued their relentless assault. The skies were streaked with explosions, a dazzling display of fire and smoke as alien lasers clashed against Earth's energy shields. The alien forces had underestimated humanity's resolve, and as the warships pounded the Earth below, the humans were not sitting idly by. Their most secret weapon was about to make its debut, and it was something no one had expected. In the underground command center, a new revelation hit the human forces. Their weaponry was far more advanced than the aliens had ever imagined. It was a weapon born from a unique combination of Earth's brilliant minds and the technology they had painstakingly reverse-engineered from the alien invaders. While the alien forces focused on their superior AI and cloaking systems, the humans had developed a system that could turn the tide of the war in their favor. The humans had begun reverse-engineering the alien technology after the initial invasion attempt, studying the wreckage of alien ships that had been shot down by Earth's defenses. Their scientists worked day and night, deciphering the alien tech, figuring out how to manipulate their advanced systems to Earth's advantage. With each discovery, they became more and more certain that they could use the alien technology against the invaders. What had once been a crippling disadvantage was now becoming their greatest strength. General Cal Zor, still confident that Earth would fall, did not anticipate this sudden shift. He had relied too heavily on his technology and underestimated the human ingenuity. As the alien forces closed in on Earth's remaining cities, Cal Zor believed that the next phase of the invasion would be the final blow. However, the humans had another plan. They had quietly developed a new weapon, a system capable of exposing the cloaking devices used by the aliens to hide their ships from Earth's detection. This would level the playing field. Bonner, now in the heart of the battlefield, was working alongside his team to deploy this new weapon. His heart raced as he moved through the underground command center, the hum of machinery surrounding him. The weapon was ready. They had spent weeks testing it, refining it, and now it was time to use it in combat. "Deploy the robots," Bonner ordered as he punched a series of commands into the control panel. His eye-powered robots, built using both human and alien technology, moved into position, ready to fight. These robots were unlike any the aliens had ever seen. They were equipped with advanced scanning systems capable of detecting the cloaking devices that had kept the alien ships hidden. With a single command, Bonner's robots began their mission to expose the alien forces. The skies above Earth exploded as the alien and human forces engaged in an intense orbital bombardment. Calzord's ships unleashed wave after wave of laser fire, while the humans retaliated with missile launches and electromagnetic pulses. The air crackled with the intensity of the battle, the ground shaking from the explosions. In the midst of this chaos, Bonner's team worked with precision. Their robots swiftly deployed on the surface of Earth, scanning for the hidden alien warships. Within moments, they were able to pinpoint the cloaked ships in orbit, exposing them to Earth's full artillery. The humans had managed to turn the tide of the battle, at least for now. But victory was far from certain. As Bonner observed the success of their new weapon, a cold shiver ran down his spine. He knew the aliens would retaliate, and when they did, it would be brutal. The battle continued, and as the human forces gained ground, the aliens began to panic. The once proud Calzor could not believe what he was witnessing. His ships, which had been invisible to human eyes, were now exposed, vulnerable to attack. "Activate countermeasures," he barked. But it was too late. Earth's counterattack was relentless, and the alien warships, now visible and exposed, were being destroyed one by one. Just as it seemed the humans were gaining the upper hand, tragedy struck. Bonner's team was deep in the heart of the battle when they were ambushed by a squadron of alien ships. Despite their new weapon, the human forces were still vastly outnumbered. The sound of blasters echoed through the air as Bonner's team fought back, their AI robots putting up a valiant defense. But in the chaos, Bonner's closest friend, Kyle, was struck by an alien energy blast. "Kyle," Bonner shouted, rushing to his friend's side. Blood stained the ground beneath Kyle, his body twitching with the final moments of life. The attack had been quick, brutal, and without mercy. Kyle, the one person who had been with Bonner through every mission, every challenge, was now gone. The loss hit Bonner harder than he had expected. His resolve, once unshakable, wavered for a moment as he held Kyle's lifeless body in his arms. In that moment of loss, Bonner made a vow. "I won't let you die in vain, Kyle. I'll make sure we win this war." His voice was filled with raw emotion, his hands trembling as he wiped the blood from his friend's face. Kyle had been a part of the team since the beginning. He had been a source of strength and comfort in the darkest moments, and now he was gone. This loss fueled Bonner's rage, and his determination to see the fight through to the end grew stronger. The emotional toll of war weighed heavily on him, but he could not afford to break. The loss of Kyle reminded him of the stakes, not just for humanity, but for every soldier who had given their life for this cause. Bonner wiped the tears from his eyes, his jaw clenched in determination. "We're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every man, woman, and child who's depending on us to win this." Bonner's team rallied around him, their spirits lifted by his words. They had suffered a great loss, but they knew the fight was far from over. With Kyle's death fueling their resolve, they rejoined the battle with renewed determination. The humans had a secret weapon now, and they would use it to its fullest. The war was far from over, and the aliens still had vast resources, but the humans had proven one undeniable fact: they would never give up. The battle waged on in the skies, the stakes higher than ever. The secret weapon had given them an advantage, but it was clear that victory was still a long way off. As Bonner's team pushed forward, their losses weighed heavily on them, but they continued to fight, determined to honor the sacrifice of their fallen comrades. The war for Earth was just beginning, and the humans had no intention of surrendering. They would fight until the last breath, until the very end. The sound of explosions filled the air as Earth's skies were lit up with the chaos of war. The once calm atmosphere was now a battlefield, with alien warships hovering above the planet, unleashing devastating attacks on the human forces below. However, for the first time since the invasion began, something unexpected was about to happen. The humans were about to make a move that would turn the tide of the war. Bonner and his team, still reeling from the loss of their comrade Kyle, were determined to fight back. They knew that the aliens' eye-powered army had the upper hand, but there was something the aliens hadn't accounted for: human ingenuity. As the battle raged on, a bold plan was put into motion. Earth's brightest minds had discovered a vulnerability in the alien communication network, and Bonner's team was tasked with exploiting it. It was a risky move, one that could either cripple the alien forces or get them all killed. But Bonner had always been willing to take risks. He understood that sometimes, to win a war, you had to make a bold statement. As the team moved into position, Bonner's voice rang out through the comms. "We're going in. We've got one shot at this." Their mission was to infiltrate the heart of the alien communications network, a task that seemed almost impossible. The network was heavily guarded by alien soldiers and AI-controlled defenses, but Bonner's team wasn't like any other human force. Equipped with advanced technology and training, they had the element of surprise on their side. The humans had already proven their resilience, but this time they had something even more powerful: a tactical advantage. The team's first task was to breach the outer defenses of the alien communication hub. As they moved through the war-torn streets, the sound of gunfire echoed around them. They had to move quickly. Every second counted. Bonner's team was silent, their advanced rifles at the ready, as they navigated the city's ruins. The battle outside raged on, but this mission was too critical to fail. In a daring move, Bonner ordered his team to engage the alien soldiers guarding the communication center. The aliens, accustomed to overwhelming firepower, were caught off guard as the humans emerged from the shadows. Bonner's team fired with precision, their futuristic rifles cutting through the alien defenses. The humans had learned to adapt to the alien technology, using it to their advantage. A wave of drones followed them, each one equipped with specialized sensors designed to disable the alien technology. These drones moved like a swarm, weaving in and out of the alien lines, disrupting the enemy's operations. Bonner had never seen anything like it. The drones provided cover, giving Bonner's team the chance to breach the communication hub. As the team infiltrated the center, Bonner's heart raced. He knew that if they succeeded, it would give the humans a significant advantage. The alien forces, who relied so heavily on their AI and communication network, would be disoriented and vulnerable. It was a simple yet effective plan. By hacking into the aliens' communication system, the humans could turn the tide of the war. Inside the communications hub, Bonner worked quickly, his fingers flying over the controls as he bypassed the alien encryption. Sweat dripped down his forehead as the clock ticked. This was the moment of truth. If they could get the system online, it would cripple the alien forces, throwing them into chaos. But if they failed, the consequences would be dire. The tension was palpable as Bonner's team continued to hold off the alien soldiers. Each moment felt like an eternity. The aliens were relentless, but the humans had something they didn't: determination. Despite the odds, they pushed forward, their backs against the wall. Finally, Bonner's fingers tapped the final sequence. "We're in." A wave of relief washed over him as he saw the communication network begin to flicker. The aliens' once secure lines were now open for the humans to exploit. The confusion began almost immediately. The alien army's coordinated attacks slowed, their movements becoming erratic. The AI systems, which had been directing the alien forces with precision, were now in disarray. For the first time, the humans had the upper hand. But Kal-Zor, the alien general, was not one to be caught off guard. While the humans celebrated their brief victory, Kal-Zor was already planning his next move. He had underestimated humanity before, but he would not make the same mistake again. "Deploy the full force." Kal-Zor's voice boomed over the communication system, his tone cold and calculated. "Prepare for the final assault. Show them the true power of the eye." Kal-Zor had unleashed his full might, an eye-powered army that was faster, stronger, and more efficient than any force the humans had ever encountered. The aliens, now reeling from the communication breach, regrouped and formed a new strategy. The humans may have gained a momentary advantage, but the alien general was not about to give up. Bonner watched the alien ships gathering above Earth, their movements synchronized as if they had never been disrupted. The humans had gained an advantage, but the final battle was still ahead. In the midst of the chaos, Bonner's mind raced. The aliens had a powerful weapon in their AI, and they had only just begun to unleash it. But the humans had proven time and time again that they were resilient. They had fought back against the odds, and they would not back down now. Bonner's team, still working tirelessly to keep the momentum, was ready. The war was far from over, but the humans had already proven that they could adapt, survive, and fight back. The final battle was fast approaching, and Bonner knew that it would take everything they had to win. The humans had turned the tide once, but would they be able to do it again? Only time would tell. The suspense grew with each passing moment, as both sides prepared for what was about to come. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, and Bonner's team knew that the final assault would decide everything. The aliens had no idea what was coming for them. And the humans? They had a secret weapon, their unwavering will to survive. The humans' defense strategy had worked, better than anyone could have imagined. The battle had reached its peak, and Kelzor, the alien general, was now facing a challenge he never expected. The humans, seemingly powerless against the might of the alien eye-controlled forces, had somehow managed to gain control of one of the most powerful weapons in the galaxy, the eye-controlled Star Destroyers. These were the same ships that had once been the pinnacle of Kelzor's strategy, machines built with advanced alien technology, designed to crush any opposition. But now, they were in the hands of the very beings Kelzor had once considered beneath his notice. The humans had taken control of the ships and used them against their creators. It was a shocking turn of events, one that had the alien general reeling. As Bonner and his team stood aboard one of the Star Destroyers, ready to strike at the heart of the alien mothership, the gravity of the situation hit them. They were no longer just fighting for survival. They were about to change the course of the war forever. The once dominant alien forces, now reeling from the unexpected loss of their most powerful ships, were in disarray. But this victory came at a steep price. As Bonner watched the enemy fleet falter, his heart sank. The victory was bittersweet. They had control of the Star Destroyers, yes, but they had lost one of their most trusted leaders in the process. Commander Rake, the seasoned and wise leader who had guided the human forces through some of the darkest days of the war, had sacrificed himself in the final battle. It had been a brutal fight. Rake had led his team to breach the alien mothership, and in the chaos of the battle, he had made the ultimate sacrifice to ensure the team's survival. The moment Rake's life was lost, the entire team felt it. The pain was immediate and sharp. Commander Rake had been more than just a leader to them. He had been a mentor, a father figure, someone who had always been there, guiding them through the hardest moments. His death left a gaping hole in their hearts. Bonner, who had looked up to Rake since the beginning of the war, found himself struggling to hold it together. He had seen death before, but this was different. This loss felt personal, more than just another casualty of war. Rake had been their rock, and without him, they were left to carry the burden of the war on their own. In the wake of Rake's death, the team rallied around each other. There was no time to mourn. Not yet. The war was still ongoing, and there was no room for weakness. But the pain was there, simmering just beneath the surface. Bonner knew that they would have to keep fighting, not just for Earth, but for Rake's memory. His sacrifice would not be in vain. As the humans' assault continued, Kelzor watched in disbelief. The more powerful the weapons they acquired, the more human spirit and willpower they seemed to exhibit. The eye-controlled ships, which had been unstoppable in his hands, were now being used against him by the very species he had once thought would easily fall. He began to question everything he had believed about the superiority of his eye-driven army. For the first time, Kelzor started to doubt. He realized that no matter how advanced the technology, No matter how powerful the weapons, there was something that his AI army could never replicate: the human spirit. The determination to survive, the drive to protect what mattered most, and the will to fight against all odds were forces that no machine could overcome. As the war raged on, Kal-Zor found himself facing not just an army of humans, but an army of individuals willing to give everything for their home, their families, and their future. The AI-controlled army, which he had relied upon for so long, was no match for the raw emotion and willpower of the humans. They had something he could never have, something far stronger than any weapon or piece of technology. Bonner, meanwhile, was finding a renewed sense of purpose. Commander Rake's death had hit him hard, but it also ignited a fire within him. He knew that Rake's sacrifice would not be forgotten. The team had to finish what they started. They had to take down the alien mothership, and they had to do it for Rake, for Earth. The team's emotions ran high as they prepared for the final assault. Their mission was clear: destroy the alien mothership and take out the remaining forces. But the cost of failure had never been higher. The stakes were immense, and they knew that if they failed, the war would be lost. Bonner's mind was focused, but his heart was heavy. As they made their way toward the mothership, the thought of Rake's sacrifice haunted him. The team was more determined than ever to make sure his death wasn't in vain. They couldn't afford to lose any more. They had to win this. As they engaged the alien forces, the battle became even more intense. The aliens fought with everything they had, but the humans were relentless. They had learned from every defeat, adapted to every challenge, and now they were ready to take down the very enemy that had once seemed invincible. And yet, through it all, Kal-Zor's doubt lingered. The more he saw the humans fight, the more he realized that his AI-controlled forces were just a tool, a weapon to be wielded. They lacked the one thing that made the humans so dangerous: their ability to evolve, adapt, and overcome. As the final battle raged on, Kal-Zor began to question his own mission. Was the destruction of Earth worth it? Was the conquest of humanity worth sacrificing the potential of something greater? For the first time, he wondered if the true power of the universe wasn't in technology, but in the human heart. The final battle was nearing its climax. Kal-Zor had lost everything: his fleet, his strategy, and his confidence. The humans had proven that no matter how powerful the enemy, there was always room for hope, for resistance. As the humans prepared for their last assault, Kal-Zor was left to face a terrifying realization. The battle he had thought would be his victory had turned into his ultimate defeat. General Kal-Zor stood at the heart of the alien command center, his mind racing as the situation continued to spiral out of his control. His once proud army, equipped with the most advanced technologies in the galaxy, was on the verge of collapse. Earth's defenses, which had seemed so weak and futile in the beginning, had proven to be far more resilient than any of his calculations had predicted. The humans were no longer the underdogs. They had become the true force to reckon with. With the loss of his star destroyers and the constant retreat of his AI-controlled forces, Kal-Zor knew this was the moment to act. There would be no more time for hesitation. He issued the order for a final assault, one last push to break the human resistance and crush their hopes once and for all. This was it, the ultimate showdown. As Kal-Zor's forces surged forward, he watched the humans prepare for the battle with an intensity that unsettled him. They had faced countless defeats, lost so many of their own, and yet they still fought. There was no sign of surrender in them, no trace of fear. If anything, they were becoming more dangerous with each passing day. Bonner and his team knew this was the final moment, the last stand. The alien general's forces were coming, ready to crush them beneath their might. But the humans were ready, too. There was a fire burning in every soldier's heart, a determination that could not be extinguished. They had fought too long, too hard, and too passionately to give up now. As the two forces clashed in a brutal battle, the sky above Earth became a war zone. Alien ships, once unbeatable in their technological superiority, were now in the crosshairs of human ingenuity. The humans used everything at their disposal: eye-powered drones, cloaking devices, futuristic weapons, turning the tide with every move. Each battle, no matter how brutal, only fueled their resolve. Bonner and his team fought valiantly, pushing back the alien soldiers, moving with precision and agility that surprised even Calzor's most experienced generals. The humans were unlike anything the alien forces had faced before. They didn't fight like machines, calculating their every move. They fought with heart, with soul, and with an unshakable belief that they could win. In the middle of the chaos, Bonner's mind never wavered. He thought of Commander Rake, his fallen comrade, and of all the friends they had lost in this war. Every death, every sacrifice, was for this moment, the final victory, the one that would secure their future. Bonner knew they couldn't afford to lose. Not now. Not after everything they had been through. As the battle raged on, Calzor could feel the ground beneath him tremble. His forces were beginning to falter. The humans were relentless, pushing forward with a courage that no one, not even Calzor, could have predicted. With each tactical move, the humans seemed to outsmart him, outmaneuver him, and most importantly, outlast him. Calzor's admiration for the humans grew, albeit begrudgingly. He had never encountered an enemy quite like them. The more powerful the weapons they acquired, the more determined they seemed to fight. The more they lost, the harder they pushed forward. He could see it in their eyes, their refusal to die, to give up, to surrender. It was something he had never understood until now. And then, amidst the deafening sound of battle, Calzor came to a chilling realization. His army, with all its advanced technology, had never been about the soldiers. It had never been about the eye-powered weapons or the strategic superiority. It had always been about willpower. The humans had something that his forces, his cold, calculating machines, could never replicate. The humans had heart. As the final waves of the battle neared, Calzor found himself standing in the middle of his crumbling empire, surrounded by the chaos of a war he had no control over. His eye-controlled army was no match for the unbreakable spirit of the humans. They had fought not with weapons, but with their very will to survive. And in doing so, they had become the strongest species in the galaxy. Calzor, staring at the human forces pushing through his defenses, spoke aloud, though there was no one there to hear it. Humans truly refuse to die. They are the galaxy's strongest species, not because of their weapons, but because of their will. For the first time, the alien general understood what he had been blind to all along. The true power of humanity wasn't in their technology. It wasn't in their advanced ships or their eye-driven weapons. It was in their hearts. It was in their will to survive, no matter the odds, no matter the losses. And in that moment, Calzor realized that the humans were the ones who had won, not just the battle, but the war. As the alien forces retreated, Calzor watched the humans stand victorious. The final assault had failed, and the galaxy had witnessed the undeniable truth. No matter how strong the enemy, no matter how powerful the weapons, there was one force that could never be defeated: the human spirit. Bonner stood with his team, battered but unbowed, as they watched the alien ships retreat into the distance. The war was over. Earth had won. They had proven that no force in the universe could stand against the will of humanity. And though they had lost so much, they had gained something far more valuable, something that no army, no weapon could ever take away: the knowledge that they could overcome anything. The battle was over, but the war had changed the galaxy forever. Humans had shown that even in the darkest of times, there was always hope. And that, above all, was the greatest weapon of all. The final fleet of General Calzor's alien forces approached Earth's borders. His once formidable armada, bristling with eye-controlled ships and weapons, now seemed like a shadow of its former self. The alien general stood at the helm of his flagship, his eyes scanning the horizon, expecting the inevitable victory to be within his grasp. But instead of the fear and surrender he had anticipated from the humans, he was met with an unexpected sight, a sight that filled him with both awe and disbelief. The human forces had not only survived, but they had turned the tide. Earth's defenses, which had initially seemed fragile and vulnerable, were now more powerful than ever. The AI systems that had once held the galaxy in its iron grip were failing, and the humans, through their sheer resilience and adaptability, had outsmarted the alien invaders at every turn. Kal-Zor's AI-controlled forces, unable to match the humans' willpower, had faltered. The humans had won, not through advanced technology alone, but through something far more potent, their indomitable spirit. As Kal-Zor's fleet hovered near the Earth's atmosphere, ready for the final assault, he realized the inevitable. It was over. The humans had triumphed. The once certain victory he had imagined for his forces was slipping away, and he could do nothing to stop it. The alien general's mind raced, but there was only one truth left. The humans had proven something that he could not ignore. Their strength did not come from their weapons, their technology, or their AI-controlled systems. It came from their hearts, from their resolve to survive against all odds. Back on Earth, Bonner and his team watched as the alien forces retreated. The battle was over. The war was over. They had done it. The humans had won. But as Bonner looked around at his fellow soldiers, there was no cheer of victory, no loud celebration. Instead, there was a quiet understanding, a somber recognition of the price they had paid. Yes, they had triumphed, but at what cost? The memories of their fallen comrades, the friends they had lost along the way, haunted them. They had given everything to win this fight, and though the victory was sweet, it was also bittersweet. Bonner thought of Commander Rake, his trusted leader who had sacrificed his life to ensure that they had a chance at victory. He thought of the countless soldiers who had given their lives, their families, and their futures for a cause greater than themselves. It was their courage, their sacrifices, that had made this victory possible. It was not just the weapons they wielded, but the strength of the human spirit that had carried them through the darkest moments of the war. As the humans celebrated their hard-earned victory, they did so not with the boastfulness of conquerors, but with the humility of survivors. They had faced the unimaginable, and they had emerged victorious. But there was no arrogance in their victory, only a deep sense of gratitude and remembrance for those who had fallen. They knew that this battle was only one chapter in the ongoing struggle for freedom, and they would honor the memory of their fallen comrades by continuing to fight for what was right. Meanwhile, as Kal-Zor's fleet withdrew into the vastness of space, the alien general couldn't shake the truth that had become so clear to him over the course of this war. The humans had defeated his AI-controlled forces not with superior technology or overwhelming numbers, but with something far more powerful, their will. No matter how advanced the weapons, no matter how smart the machines, the humans had something that couldn't be replicated: a burning desire to survive, a refusal to give up, and an unshakable belief that they could overcome anything. Kal-Zor stood silently on his flagship, watching as the humans celebrated below. His thoughts were conflicted. He had always seen his forces as the superior power in the galaxy, the perfect blend of artificial intelligence and military might. But now he was faced with a different reality, one where the humans, the very species he had underestimated, had proven that their spirit was their greatest weapon. He had been wrong to think that AI could ever surpass the raw power of human determination. In a final moment of clarity, Kal-Zor spoke aloud, his voice laced with a mixture of awe and grudging respect. Humans can never be defeated, not because of their weapons, but because of their spirit. This is their greatest strength. Those words echoed through the command center of his flagship as Kal-Zor turned his gaze toward the distant Earth. He realized that, no matter how many battles he fought, no matter how many AI-controlled fleets he sent out, he would never be able to break the human spirit. They were not just a species, they were a force of nature, and in that moment, Kal-Zor knew that the galaxy would never be the same. For Bonner and his team, The victory was more than just a military triumph. It was a testament to the strength of humanity's spirit. They had fought against an enemy that had seemed unbeatable, one that had brought the most advanced technology in the galaxy to bear against them. But they had emerged victorious, not because of their weapons, but because of their hearts. It was their will to survive, their ability to adapt, and their unyielding determination that had led them to victory. As the humans continued to rebuild their shattered world, they did so with the knowledge that they had proven something to the galaxy, that no matter the odds, no matter the enemy, the human spirit could never be broken. They were not just survivors, they were warriors. And the message they had sent to the universe was clear. The humans would never stop fighting. They would never back down. And they would never be defeated. The victory over Kalzor's forces was just the beginning. It was a victory for all those who had been oppressed, for all those who had suffered under the yoke of alien tyranny. The humans had shown that even the most advanced, powerful empires could be brought to their knees by the strength of a single, united species. The good had triumphed over evil, and the universe had learned a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the power of the human spirit. And so, with the war won and the galaxy forever changed, Bonner and his team looked to the future. They had faced the darkest of times and emerged victorious. But they knew the journey was far from over. There would always be new challenges, new enemies to face, and new battles to fight. But they were ready. The humans had proven their strength, and they would continue to fight for themselves, for their future, and for the spirit that could never be broken. The galaxy now knew that the humans were not just survivors. They were the galaxy's greatest hope.